The other day, I just got done watching the live-action Netflix Parasite The Grey Show, and it was actually way better than I thought it was, because if you don't know the Parasite show on Netflix, it is based off of the anime. Kind of. I'll get in that a little bit, but it's based off of the anime, and typically live-action adaptations of anime are not very good. Whether it's like the Death Note one, which I saw, I'm going to be honest here. Completely honest. I'm not even going to try to ride the wave here with the Death Note thing. I saw the Death Note live action before I even watched the anime. I wasn't into anime at all. This is back when I was like a little baby and, I wasn't very open-minded. And whenever I would see anime, I'd be like, oh man, those are for weebs, those are for losers, those are for babies. But thankfully, I grew up and I grew out of that silly phase. And I watched anime. Death Note was my first anime. This is a story probably some of y'all have heard before. And I'm now in love with anime. I think anime is awesome. So since then, I've seen a ton of anime. And Parasite is an anime that I saw. And I actually, out of the anime that I've seen, I'd probably put it in my top 10 animes I've seen of all time. It's not like this crazy show that has never been done before. I just slapped my fucking microphone, by the way. So I'm sorry if something crazy just happened there, but the Parasite anime isn't something crazy that's like never before been done. It's not some crazy like cat and mouse goose chase thing like Death Note, but I don't know, there's something about it that's just so good. And I don't remember the story too much, but I remember the feeling I had watching the anime. And the feeling I had watching the anime was that I was just so happy to watch another new episode. And then when it was over, I was super sad about it because I wanted it to keep going because I really liked it. And so I saw a little bit of the Kakegurui live action, and Kakegurui is an anime that I've also seen, and the live action for that is so bad. And before the One Piece live action, you could say pretty confidently that every single live action anime is going to do horribly. But what One Piece did different, and Parasite does the exact same thing here, is they don't try to replicate the anime one-to-one. And there's no way you could possibly do that even with live action shows. It's just not possible to replicate an anime, because in anime they do these crazy voices and these crazy facial expressions, and they talk in such a way that can only be well represented in an animation style. And if you try to mimic that same talking or the same facial expressions, it just looks goofy in live action. So One Piece did it perfectly, right? I think One Piece is probably the first anime adaptation I saw where I was like, wow, this is really good. And I loved it, and I think I made a whole video about it as well after I finished watching it. That was a 10-episode series. I think they're also working on a season 2 of that, so I'm super excited for that to come out. But I'm not going to spoil anything about the live-action Parasite show in this video, because that would just be crazy. That's like a cardinal sin. I would never do that without having a spoiler warning in the title. So that's not going to happen. I'm not going to spoil anything about this Parasite show. But one thing that is not a spoiler that I can say is that this is not a one-to-one recreation. It's actually an entirely different story set in the same world, which is really interesting. And this isn't a secret or anything. It's on every trailer. It's in the description of the show. That is not a spoiler at all. It is in the same world, and it is a completely different story, which I think is so cool, right? Because one thing that I worry about whenever I see these anime live actions is that they, try to mimic the same exact thing as the anime, which I talked about earlier. And thank God that they don't do that, because this show would have been so bad if they tried to do that. So it's its own thing, completely different people, completely different characters, but in the exact same world. And what is really good about this anime too, or not anime, Jesus. What's really good about this live action is that everything is just so good. I mean, the acting is really good. The characters are awesome. It's only 6 episodes too, with each episode being an hour long, which is like crazy. I saw this runtime, like 6 episodes. I was like, what? How can they possibly tell this story in 6 episodes? Because at the time, I didn't even know that it was set in an entirely new world. So that just completely shocked me. And the one thing that is kind of annoying about this, that I can see somebody who's not very open-minded and is watching something like this for the first time, is that, this is a show that's not in English. So they're going to have subtitles at the bottom of the screen in English. And I've seen a lot of shows at this point that aren't in English and have subtitles at the bottom, so it doesn't bother me at all. But when I first started watching these shows where they had the subtitles at the bottom, I was like, oh man, this is so annoying because, I couldn't eat. I have to stare at the TV whenever I want to like eat. I can't look away for a second and like do something else, I'm an iPad kid. If I'm going to eat something, I got to watch something. So if I'm going to have any food, I'm either watching a YouTube video or I'm watching some TV show or some movie. I cannot eat without watching something. It is something I just cannot do. So, that may put some people off, but I still think you should give the show a try anyway. It's really good, dude. I forget there's this other show that I saw that's also not in English. I think it's in Japanese. I can't, or Korean, something like that. I can't remember exactly, but it is a really good show about a moon and they have to get water from the moon because there's no more water on the planet. I'm not sure the exact name of it. I'll try to look it up right now. It's called The Silent Sea. The Silent Sea is absolutely incredible. And it looks like the same actor that was in Train to Busan is in that show too. I didn't know that. I've never seen Train to Busan. That's going to be the next show that I see because that sounds really good. People are raving about that show. So I definitely want to check that out. I want to see what all the hype is about there. But this Parasite show was just incredible. Another thing that's really cool about this show is it just looks so fucking real. The show's called Parasite, so no fucking spoiler here. There's parasites in the show, right? There's fucking creatures in the show. And the creatures just look so real. If you've seen the anime, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not even going to spoil what the parasites are because that would just be crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to talk about this for a bit because I just finished watching it and I thought it was super good. And I wanted to give my review of it. Only 6 episodes long. The characters are great. The storyline is fucking phenomenal. And you could probably honestly say that this is as good as One Piece. What would I give this out of 10? I would probably give this like an 8.5 out of 10. I think that's the same rating I gave One Piece actually. So yeah, I mean, that's all I can really say. This show was just incredible. It really surprised me, right? That this was an original story based in the exact same world as the anime Parasite. Because I figured with an anime adaptation, you'd probably want to play it safe and be like, oh, these people, With anime adaptations, it's like, oh, people already love the anime. They already love the anime story. Why not we just make that exact same story but into live action? Easy money, easy viewership. But I can really appreciate when shows kind of take a risk here, or when live action adaptations take a risk. And they're like, okay, we're not going to do this, by the book. We're not going to just copy this exact storyline. We're going to make our own storyline. And One Piece kind of did that, not really because it's the exact same thing, but they changed the storyline to fit live action, and that's really admirable in my opinion whenever directors choose to do that. Just like this Parasite live show, which is really interesting because the Parasite, it's nothing like the anime, so it's just really cool. I wanted to talk about it for a bit, just rave about this amazing show on Netflix. Netflix did it again. They're 2 for 2 with live action. No, they're not 2 for 2, are they? Didn't they do the Death Note one? Oh shit. Netflix also hosted the Death Note live action. Oh. I just looked that up right now and saw that. Well, they did the One Piece one really well, and now they did Parasite well also. So, I'll give them that. But thanks for watching. I appreciate y'all. Have a good day.